Nick Saban's saying a lot of things about college football and the state of college football right now. And as I was reading the quotes, I didn't know if it was like a Ballsack Sports quote, or if it was like a Schnefter, or like a Pete.
Owner Garage.
Fannel. Instead of Famil.
Rip apart.
Like, I didn't know if it was like fake quotes or whatever, but like the way Nick Saban was breaking down why and how he potentially led to retiring from college football, greatest of all time, is pretty wide open about the state of college football. He said, I was really disappointed in the way that the players acted after the game. You got to win with class, you got to lose with class, and then showing your ass. How many times have you heard a coach say, you show your ass, you showing your ass and being frustrated and throwing helmets and doing that stuff? I thought we could have a hell of a team next year, and then maybe 70 or 80% of the players you talk to, all they want to know is two things. What assurances do I have that I'm going to play because they're thinking about transferring, and how much are you going to pay me? So I'm saying to myself, maybe this doesn't work anymore. So Nick Saban actually questioned whether or not his messaging was reaching the players anymore, because 70 to 80% of them didn't really seem to care about the family and growth and getting better and buy-in. All they cared about was, am I playing next year? And also, I'm here and I could potentially get about 70 to 80 grand more from this particular place instead of you. And Saban's like, how is this a member of a Saban football team?
Yeah.
You know, like he's thinking to
How was this my exit meetings? He's thinking, exit meetings, you usually go over, hey, how'd the season go? Like, it's, as a player sometimes, like, it's not great. Like, coaches should be honest with you. Now, all of a sudden, the players are coming to you and, like, grilling the head coach. It has to be a weird thing for guys like Saban.
Yeah, Saban's sitting there and, like, the first guy, all right, yeah, we'll talk about it, all thanks. Goes in, the first guy I talked to comes in and says,
Kind of odd.
Next guy comes in, same things, well, a hell of a season. We didn't end up where we wanted to be. We got to get on this. I think for you, this offseason we need to work on is, I think maybe we'll get a little bigger, stronger, faster, obviously in the weight room. Need you to work on this. You do this a little bit, it'll be good. And then we do this. And the guy goes, okay, cool. Am I playing next year? Well, if you do all these things.
Let me stop you, coach. Let me stop you, coach.
Am I, so you're saying maybe playing? What is the... Well, I think, yeah, you have an opportunity to potentially earn your way on the field. Okay, so that's a no? Not guaranteed? Okay, got it. Coach, thanks. Also, so am I still expected to play on the same payment as this last year? Because Nevada State is telling me they'll pay me an extra 100 grand or whatever. I'm not even allowed to deal with the money situation that you're allowed to have. That's third party, independent party. I don't even know, but yeah, I assume that could get figured out. Okay, so that's a yes? All right, so no on guaranteed playing time. Yes on more money. You got it. All right, I'll get you into my schedule next week, actually.
Say it.
Saban's like, get me the hell out of here. Then you hear Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly just said on the show, like, I don't want it to be a CEO. I would like to be a football coach. I'm going back to be an offensive coordinator for the sake of my sanity, it seemed like, is what Chip Kelly was saying. And then you see these older coaches, old buddy gets out of Boston College as a head coach. Hafley gets out, goes in there. And it's like there's going to be the next generation of coaches that are going to only know this and they're going to go through it. But it is wild that all the college football coaches seemingly are like, this is not even the same sport anymore, and we want to get the hell out of here. It's a wild time in college football right now, AJ.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't even know how much you get that in the NFL. Like, think about it. Like, you guys in the NFL, they're not bombarding the head coach with contract situations. They know you go talk to the GM and everything. Like, with your coach in the NFL, it's all ball pretty much. And the coach, like, yeah, you guys will figure out the contract situation. But, yeah, so these college coaches are dealing with stuff that NFL coaches don't even have to mess with their players.
Every year.
Every probably 3 months. And then they have a lot of players have managers, I guess, that go out there and they find, like, if you're in the portal, that can go and get bids on what you, like, hey, what offers you might have from each school. Yeah, it's a different time, so you got to find a way. But with Saban saying that, so it sounded like he was gung-ho all ready to coach again, but then after all these meetings and everything, he's like, oh, man, like, he obviously must have had some kind of doubts, like, how much longer will I do it? But then that really reinforced it that I'm out of here.
And, all the chatter all year, in our show even got mentioned in it because they were like, you think Saban's doing Pat's show if he's not thinking about retiring? You think Saban's doing this 10 years ago if he's not thinking about retiring? So a lot of people are using it as ammunition against Coach Saban, that he was coming on our show, that he's retiring, so there isn't stability in Alabama. And a lot of Alabama people think like, oh, that's Georgia people putting that out. That's Tennessee. That's people that are trying to make it appear as if the future is, on the rocks. That's why they've been talking about it year after year after year after year for Saban. But there had to certainly be conversations with Miss
Miss Terry.
Who they're saying might get a statue out there throughout the entirety of this transition period of the NIL and how things are going. And he and Miss Terry maybe they're supposed to have a spot of tea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were supposed to have a spot of tea out on the back on the lake. And instead he has to go have a meeting with a manager of a 19-year-old who's on his team who didn't play last year but wants more money and a guaranteed playing time. But he and Miss Terry can't have a spot of tea that they were able to have for 20-something years. It's like, I wonder how many of those little things through the year are happening. And then whenever those meetings take place where they're dictating the terms to Coach Saban for them to come back, he goes, Miss Terry, you're never going to believe this. And then they go down to that house on the beach, and he's sitting there probably looking at the ocean. And he turns around, and there's a mega mansion behind him. And he got all the trophies up there. I don't want to go back to that bullshit.
No.
Get me out of here. It is amazing, like, how many little things probably added to him just being like, I did it. I beat the kid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and get out of there. And I appreciate that he's being as transparent as he's being. You know, because this is good news. Him saying this type of stuff and, like, being real and transparent and talking and everything, that's great for College Game Day. That's great for College Game. Like, as I'm reading those quotes, because I thought they were fake quotes, I'm like, okay, so Saban's being, like, real.
Wide open.
Like he's being very, very, very wide open and transparent. That's great news for game day, you know? Like the amount of peppering of Saban on game day is, oh my God.
It's going to be amazing.
Think about me going, what do you know? You know, to anything basically. And if I say something and he agrees with me, guy doesn't know ball. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick. Just the added element of a GOAT being up there is a hilarious process, but also the fact that he's going to be very transparent, I think is good for the future of college football.
Yeah.
Because education of people that aren't directly involved in it, of what's actually happening, could lead to expedited change, you know, and that is a good thing, I think, for all parties.
Yeah, I mean, they need to get this fixed. Like this can't be like, oh, okay, we'll kind of go out through the next 3 to 5 years and kind of and then make tweet. Like, they need to fix this now, or start realizing how they're going to, because otherwise it is going to be like this. You're going to have all these older coaches who basically are just like, you know what, this is bullshit. I don't want to do this anymore. Or you're going to have a bunch of these kind of up-and-coming guys who, same deal. It's like Halfley. It's like, I'm not a coach anymore. I'm going to go to the NFL. I'm okay with being like a D-backs coach or a D coordinator. I don't need to be a head coach because I actually get to coach up there. And then we're just going to have probably a lot of schools where you have guys who maybe are getting head coaching jobs before they're ready to actually, as a whole, you could see how this could really diminish
quickly
the overall product. Yeah, because guys are just,
because this is development here.
Exactly.
These are development years. This is getting better as humans. This is getting better as athletes. This is getting better as football players. And it's like that all needs to be reminded. I think hey, we're still developing as humans at this time. You know,
think of you from your freshman year to your senior in college. You're a different human being, I feel like.
Well, and then you think about even 5 years removed from living, you know what I mean? You're so we got these 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds and 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds having to make decisions that 28-year-olds would probably normal. Now, granted, I know they're being introduced to things much quicker nowadays, business-wise, but it's we got to be able to. It's not players don't deserve money. I am on the complete opposite side of that. You could check my resume loud. Very loud about that, since literally the first time I ever got a chance to speak or learned about it in my first NCAA meeting my freshman year, where they went through this pamphlet about how we're getting screwed out of money, pretty much, is all I heard the entire time. For how long was that? It was 3 hours. It was 3 hour meeting.
It was the worst. Those compliance meetings were the worst things ever.
It was a 3 hour, 4 hour meeting, and I hate these. You got a bunch of suits coming in here just telling us how wrong we are about everything and how great they are, seemingly. And then all you think to yourself is, we're making all the money for all of you. And I see Pat White sitting right there and Steve Slayton right there, and they just built a whole new campus. And I got this guy with glasses on telling me amateurism is the reason why they can't make it. Okay. Well, it seems like you are an amateur of business, because this is not how this goes. So I have been an advocate for players utilizing themselves to profit, like a pianist could who's in college, like people that are actors or singers can while they're in college and do their entire thing. That is all I'm saying. But what we need to protect players too. We need to protect the student human athletes as well. Not only financially, but them as humans. putting them in situations where they could potentially get like very sketchy contracts, like that could affect your life forever. Like people signing away 20% of future earnings and shit as 17-year-olds. It's like there has to be some sort of this is what a contract can look like. This is what this is worth, because the people don't even know what market value is for anything. So people are agreeing to terrible deals just because they feel cool getting good deals. It's like that whole shit needs to get figured out. And with that being said, I don't know how. I don't know.
Nobody does.
I don't know how that gets figured out.
But every team should have like an Andrew Brandt or like a general manager.
The head coach
type.
should be like a GM almost.
Well, but even that, it's like you're putting too much on them. Like bring someone else.
No, don't coach. Like head coach is like GM, and you hire offensive head coach, OC, defensive head coach.
But then you end up with what happens with Chip Kelly, where these guys don't want to coach anymore.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a football coach. I think it's a scout that you give like a GM job to.
Yeah, exactly. Like every team gets a GM, and like that would help.
I think that's who the head coach is going to become, though. Like I think the head coach
sucks.
I think that's what it will have to be, unless you just add a.
Yeah, you just add a role that's just GM, like an NFL franchise.
Fundraiser is the number one job of a head coach in college football.